Yes.
Oh no.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Aron van Ammers, CTO and founding partner of Outlier Ventures, and with me are Alexander Mitrovich and Greg Zaitsev of Unique Network. And today we'll talk about Feeless NFTs on Polkadot, what it entails, and some of the other capabilities of Unique Network. I ask you both to just briefly introduce yourselves. Who are you with your role in Unique Network?
Sure. Thank you, Aaron. Pleasure to be here. Hi, everybody. Some of you I know, some of you I've met. So still, I'm Alexander, CEO, founder of Unique Network.
Yeah, and I'm Greg, CTO, and I've been with Unique Network since the beginning. And
he's the brains behind the thing. You know, I'm just pretty.
Great. Very good. One further intro. This is the Metaverse Live. Previously, we've talked. We've had our format was called Tech Tuesdays. This is now part of the wider format that we do with Outlier Ventures, the Metaverse Live. But today is very much a technology-focused edition. As you see, Crowdcast makes use of portrait format, and you guys are both on the same camera, which is great, but gets a bit close together. But everybody in the audience.
No way without the third person in the room, which is me again.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, and when we turn off the slides, then we have a better view. So yeah, I'll just give a very brief background on Outlier Ventures and the subject of NFTs as we get into that. First off, a disclaimer. In any case, none of what we talk about today is financial promotion or investment advice. And I specifically want to say that we work together with Unique Network. We're a strategic advisor to you guys, and work with you in the Ascent token launch program. So we're also an investor in that sense. And there's something to disclose. So very brief background about Outlier Ventures. We have been backing Web3 founders and Metaverse founders since 2014. Always looked with perspective of having multiple chain worlds, which is a multiple blockchain world in that sense. There's not the one true blockchain. That's not what we believe. And I think that's more and more becoming a reality. And the Unique Network and the Polkadot ecosystem, I think, is very much a manifestation of that view. And what we invest in, the teams that we work with, we now describe as the open metaverse. So that is a new data economy, working, having self-sovereign data, self-sovereign financial data, but also other forms of data, decentralized finance, so the open financial protocols that work together to form the financial systems of the open metaverse, and NFTs, or sovereign virtual goods, which are the things that you can own, that can move around, that you can that kind of function in that open metaverse. And we do that mainly through the Basecamp accelerator. Now in 3 flavors. The core main brand accelerator cohort, the Filecoin Basecamp and Polkadot Basecamp, with a few other collaborations soon to be announced. So we've had the pleasure to work with lots of teams in the space, and continue to do so. And as I said, the Ascent token launch program, in which we work with Unique Network and many others, and where we help tokens projects work towards a successful and sustainable token launch. And we run validators as well on a number of networks, as of course we have intensive collaborations and such networks are launched. So we run those too. A bit of the angle, like how do NFTs fit in all of this, and how do we see this? Earlier this year, we published the Open Metaverse OS as the sort of the new iteration of our investment thesis, where we look at you have all these virtual worlds. You have the more concrete virtual worlds, which are the gaming environments, the Fortnites, the Roblox, the Minecrafts, and the decentralized forms of those. So Decentraland, CryptoVoxel, Summian, Sandbox and the likes, Axie Infinity even. Ultimately, you could say, well, crypto protocols are a form of virtual worlds, or becoming forms of virtual worlds in any case. And the 3D representation of those that we know as virtual worlds are the more things that you can experience as a virtual world, but isn't the Ethereum ecosystem, isn't the Polkadot ecosystem becoming this collection of an open system that continuously exists, where you can have ownership, where you can communicate, those kind of things. Now, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, really are the in-world assets in that sense. So the more the physical in-world assets, such as space, as you have a virtual land, objects, as your gaming sword, or your wearables in virtual worlds, or of course, the art forms that we see a lot with NFT, the recent NFT boom, avatars, but also content. So media, it's very big, and data assets also, of course, which comprise of that. And with the recent, I guess, boom in NFTs that we've seen, record after record being broken in trading volume, and high prices paid for CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and such things, and even getting a really big presence in the real world, the traditional world, which both Christie's and Sotheby's having done multiple high profile NFT auctions, and lots of really famous artists doing NFT drops, and I guess there's becoming a lot more I guess immediate real world presence of the NFT concept than I guess there's previously been with cryptocurrency in general, and then DeFi. That was financially oriented, but now you see all these famous people like actually dropping a music album, and doing fan sessions and trying to wrap their heads around like what it is. And I guess now more than ever, that asks for ways for frictionless usage of these things. And really the wider public must be able to use these things, pay for these things, experience these things, work with them. And now back to the real world. Well, the real world, the state of today of crypto networks, we're still stuck with high fees, with complex wallets, with hard to understand concepts, and it's become a lot better. It's become a lot better over the years. But still, usually you need to purchase some token. Usually you have a cost for a transaction that might be $10 today and $60 tomorrow. So yeah, there's a lot of room and need for improvement. I'm happy to say that you guys at Unique Network have quite a unique view and approach to that. So yeah, really happy to dive into that further today. I won't spend too much on this. If you want to learn more about the Open Metaverse OS, do read the report and reach out to us. So yeah, let's get into what's possible with NFTs on Unique Network, and starting with a focus on taking that UX friction away and making it more available for millions or even billions of people to use this. Like this magic thing of this magic concept of having digital things that you can actually own and that you can transfer and that you can hold forever and are preserved forever. So yeah, to start off, maybe just start with a high level overview for the audience, like what is Unique Network and how are NFTs represented there? Like, what is the basic model of NFTs on Unique Network? And we can dive a bit deeper from there. This is a bit of background.
Sure. Thank you, Aaron. Unique is the NFT parachain for Kusama Polkadot. If the audience knows a little bit about Polkadot, the first thing that everybody learns there is that Kusama, Polkadot, they are relay chains, kind of base layer infrastructure, and they provide mining. They also provide messaging between parachains and parachain software, and that's it. Unique is basically infrastructure functionality for those relay chains that enables different kinds of NFT use cases and functionality. So that's the mission. We are still infrastructure, but middleware. Okay, if you take Ethereum as an example, then the Kusama Polkadot would be the mining, the consensus part, and we would be ERC 721, 1155, and all the other kind of standards and smart contracts in addition to build it. So that's one of the ways to look at it. So the specifics of Polkadot are that parachains are completely independent besides the kind of consensus and mining. So we have our own economy, we have our own functionality. We decide what we put on, we decide when to put it on, we decide most of the things. In that way, we have designed Unique to be very focused on NFT use cases as we see them today and as we see them happening in 5 years and 10 years and whatever. So it is our claim on creating something especially for the NFT use cases. Now, when we talk about it, there are things that people in the blockchain space are accustomed to are NFT use cases and functionality, like minting tokens, minting NFTs, sending them, having wallets to view them, and smart contracts to kind of do a few things with them, maybe. Okay, that's what. So we have that, but the thing is, Substrate, the underlying technology software behind all the chains like Polkadot and us, is actually much more flexible. So we have much more than what you're accustomed to and seeing in the other blockchains. So first of all, it begins with minting NFTs. We have that operation not with the smart contract. You can use smart contract to mint them if you like, but we think it's a waste of energy. We support that natively. So it's a native transaction, which is much more effective. It uses less energy. That's the kind of simplest form to express it. If you talk to guys who are worried about planet and global warming, they would say on Ethereum, you burn so much electricity to make NFTs and to do stuff, and the comparable spend with native transactions is like, I don't know, 1 million times less. Because it is much less technologically, and because it's proof of stake, so general mining cost is less, is 1,000 times less. So we really have a big case for that. We work with some of the climate changing initiatives on that. So that's basically what the in a nutshell what Unique Network is.
Great. And I know you have this sponsorship model or promotion model that app creators or otherwise creatives can use to create an economic model, which both makes it more accessible for end users because they can indeed use NFTs in a feeless way, and for those creators to also have an interesting financial or pre-financing model for using a chain. Maybe a question for you, Greg. Could you say a bit more about that model and how on the one hand users and on the other hand creators work with that?
Yeah. Like you said before, other chains offer us some difficulties, some friction for end users to get using the application the first time and all consequent times. For example, you can think of not only of gas fees, but of accumulating some energy, memory, whatnot. Every blockchain offers some new kind of resources that you need to use. You need to accumulate before you can send a transaction. So it's not always just one; it's sometimes more than one. And this all, well, while this is certainly fun in technical sense, from the perspective of the usual user, it's more of a friction and on the way to easier to understand this and use the application easier. What we can offer here is basically if I say this very simply, put it in simple words, there is a transaction fee, but the user who sends it, the end user, doesn't have to pay it. The substrate allows us to put this responsibility of paying transaction fee to the application owner, who can become a sponsor for their users. So basically, if I'm a user, I come to visit the web page for the app. I can run a transaction without having any tokens, any uniques or whatever other tokens. I can run the transaction. I can mint it. It will mint without me having to have any or acquire any tokens on the exchange. That's certainly less frictionless and works much easier on my end. Of course, there are some protective measures we need to take because there's the sponsors may be attacked. For example, if there are many users who want to, or some users who want to attack the network by sending the free transactions. But we have these measures in place. We have rate limits. We have allow lists and everything. But yeah, on the high level, that's the sponsoring allows us to lend everybody without having any previous blockchain experience or crypto knowledge to use the D app.
Great. And just a small process thing. I see Victor Yabinin has already discovered it. If you want to ask a question, anyone in the audience, do use that function, and then we can prioritize them and get them in. I think you've just already answered that question about can someone spend my tokens by transactions and wasting the budget. So you have measures in place to do that. Yeah. From the perspective of the sponsor. What does that look like? I mean, say I have, a small budget, and I'm in the unique network ecosystem or the wider Polkadot ecosystem, and I see there's someone who wants to realize a great game on unique network, but they don't have quite the budget to pay for transactions for their users. What does that look like initially and over time when the game is released and running for maybe a year? Could you describe the life cycle a bit for people?
Yeah, it's actually most of people kind of working in the space are startups this way or another. So it would be wrong to put the burden of that investment on them, just like it is to put the burden on users. So the idea what we have in place is a program where basically to all the applications building on top, we give them the tokens for transaction fees for free for the first year. And then that is the current thinking. We'll see, kind of maybe we change that to something else, but that is more than enough time for them to monetize. So the idea here is to create freemium environment, okay? Just like on mobile phones, you play games or anywhere. You play games until people are ready to pay for it, until they appreciate it enough. And it's wrong from the database perspective to ask, you need to pay money right away to use me, okay? So the game developers, we give them that sponsorship money, those tokens, to the certain extent that they protect it against spam appropriately. But the game developers especially are very good at economics. Okay, so they know when is a good time to charge the user for something. They the good ones have been doing this for years, and they know up to one click kind of where the right time is. So it is only natural to give them the ability to manage the economics. Okay, we'll give them the year of transactions for free. They will be small in the beginning. Hopefully they will grow. They will start monetizing, and then they can easily afford, a few hundred bucks or a few $1,000 a month for transaction fees if they are successful. Okay, so the transaction fees are not there to really make money or to be kind of an obstacle. They're there to protect the blockchain from spam and unintended, to have a right incentives for people to use it. But you don't have a good incentive if you want from somebody money from the first moment they meet you. Okay, you need to give them, give them time. Okay, so that's what we are doing. Then actually what we are working on is the second leg of this program, which will come afterwards, where our token holders can actually help sponsor the transaction fees. So we're working on that. There's still time for that because we'll help the apps in the initial year. But when we do that, then the token holders can kind of stake their tokens for them, and in return earn some of the transaction fees that they make. And and we bootstrap that as well. So the idea here is not only to manage the money, but also to gain help projects gain ecosystem of supporters, of ambassadors who will kind of have a stake in it, and so on. So that's also coming. So it's not a money trap where poor guys will never ever be able to afford it. It's something that gives them a chance to launch, to start, to monetize it, and then they can easily afford that.
Right. Yeah. So it's to summarize that on other change, including Ethereum and others, there's this base cost of transaction, which makes it impossible to introduce a freemium model. So the cost for usage for end users, well, it's possible with meta transactions.
It's not impossible. OpenSea has some creative things around that. Yeah. They are very limited in what they can do. Okay, this is not kind of infrastructure. This is a one shot kind of band-aid basically.
Yeah, but the default is end users have to pay from the very first time they interact with an application like a game or something else, and it's unpredictable what that cost will be. So from a perspective of the developer, it's like well, my users are paying something, $10, $20, and $1, 25 cents, whatever. Whereas with this sponsored model, you can really give them that freedom that they already have from the non-blockchain worlds. It's like, okay, I'm going to make it free for the first 3 weeks of usage, or the first 3 levels in my game, or whatever. And after that, you get to pay X, and that's how I design my model. And that's ultimately how I repay maybe my sponsors or promoters, right, or token holders that have decided to stake on me, on my app.
For example, that's another way. Yeah, you don't need to look far. I mean, NBA Top Shots has that experience. Okay, you don't see blockchain there; it's hidden under the hood. They've done a genius work. But our impression is that you can do that on Flow with collectibles, where basically every transaction is commercial. So it's easy to take a cut from the commissions and pay for the gas and not worry about that. Okay, so it's easy to protect the blockchain that way. But if you want to do a real game, I don't know, have Fortnite, okay, where you really need to get people going, then you'll have problems. And but what Substrate allowed us to do is make this gas stations, speak, or whatever, is really scalable. So it's scalable, it's customizable, and so it should appeal to a very wide audience, and not only to gaming. I mean, Greg came up with this idea actually for a security token platform, Neufund, back 3 years ago, because they were the idea, the problem that we have everywhere in blockchain space is very confined to crypto people. It's very hard to onboard new people, explain them what blockchain is, how it works, and it starts, it's a headache for everybody. But if we make simple solutions that allow, so in that case, they were attracting regular investors who just made euro transfers in the bank, but when they wanted to actually invest in some startup, they had euro tokens that these guys minted for them as stable coins, but they didn't have any ETH for gas. So yes.
Mhm.
So Greg actually made them a solution that automates the sponsorship of those transactions. But imagine what that would cost today.
Yeah, but again, there was a commission that they could take a cut of. To pay for these things.
True. But also, imagine what that would cost today.
Mhm.
It would be ridiculous. Okay, so it's back then transaction costs were like the 50 cents.
Yeah. Great. I want to progress a bit to how Unique Network fits in the wider ecosystem, because you're building this chain with all these great capabilities, with feeless transactions, at least for the end user, with advanced ownership models, and like the core NFT functionalities native to the chain rather than all in general purpose programming. But if that's all on an island, then I would say good luck attracting anyone to jump to that island. So how can Unique Network interoperate with the wider Polkadot ecosystem or Kusama ecosystem, Ethereum blockchain or Ethereum-like blockchains? Could you say a bit about that?
Mm-hmm. So we first question we need to solve is how to bring other NFTs from other networks to Unique and allow them to come back if they wish, if their owners wish. We are working on a couple of bridges that will allow us to bring NFTs from Ethereum. So that's basically that will at least that will allow us to allow their users to do the much less expensive transfers of these NFTs, or maybe even sponsored free transfers. So that of course it's not much functionality. Sometimes we want more, like in case of CryptoKitties, we want them to have kids. Kittens, but for CryptoPunks, for example, that would be a very nice use case, because we can use refungible functionality. We have this special type of token called refungible. This is the token allows us to take an NFT and split it into many small pieces. That's very well. That could be used very nicely. It can be split between different people, owned separately, or it can be used in for price discovery on the crypto exchange, just like a fungible asset would be used. So many use cases for that. And also, well, we are working on porting NFT or sending our NFTs through XCMP. This protocol is called XCMP in Polkadot. this is messaging protocol between different parachains. Once it's launched, once we have the protocols for exchanging NFTs, we can send NFTs between different parachains, even send them to DeFi parachains to be used there for their financial purposes, like collateral.
Great.
And actually, just to kind of demonstrate how easy these things are. So in terms of the Polkadot ecosystem, all the parachains are built on Substrate, and by default, then there's a lot of common things. So just last week, Subsocial guys were like, okay, we want to show your NFTs in our wallet, in our profiles. That's a social networking parachain in the ecosystem. And they're like, okay, how do you show that? We just gave them a small specification and a question answer to the question from Victor here. So we just gave them a small kind of spec, and on Wednesday they started, on Friday they were done. And now you can see all our NFTs and the stuff Remark is doing on Kusama itself. You can see them in the profile from there. So it's very easy and quick and cheap to kind of to do stuff in between the parachains. And then in terms of other chains, so Ethereum is kind of something that Parity has paid a lot of attention to in the in their past lives and now. So they made EVM and a couple of pallets that basically repeat fully Ethereum. So we use it, we have it inside. So you can use all your Solidity smart contracts, you can use MetaMask, you can use all those things that are, most of people or developers are accustomed to. And you can take any application that's on Ethereum or EVM compatible chain and just port it, just like you would do to Polygon or to other kind of EVM based chains. Just take the whole code and put it in, and in the UI you need to kind of change the RPC endpoints, and that's it. And it works there. So it's actually fairly easy. The bridges Greg is talking about are actually getting to the application level where it becomes kind of really interesting. So you dig out deep in the use cases and kind of you start think up of some real scenarios of what you can do when you have multi-chain kind of existence. But interoperability is there. So these two ecosystems are already well integrated, and there's a number of bridges that are being built as well to other chains. So I expect, a lot of interoperability to come out of the whole Polkadot ecosystem and to combine all the chains. So you can do stuff on Solana, you can do stuff wherever you want.
Yeah, great. And from a development perspective, you have, of course, these native NFTs with all the capabilities, and you have the EVM, which allows general purpose smart contracts. But you also represent the native NFTs with the Ethereum compatible interfaces, right? The ERC 721 as such.
Yes, exactly. So that's exactly how they work. If we connect MetaMask to our network, MetaMask will see our NFT tokens just like ERC 721. Same thing will happen with Solidity smart contracts launched on our EVM palette. They will be able to interact with native NFTs just like with ERC 721 smart contracts. They won't see the difference.
Nice. We have one question in that area, also from Victor. Parity Tech supports the gift pallets. The pallets for the audience are the sort of the modules in a substrate blockchain, the modules of functionality. So you have the EVM pallet, which makes Ethereum contracts possible, and you have a bunch of pallets in a unique network. So the gift pallet, do you know about that?
Gift?
Yeah, gift. If not, then
hold on.
look later. Link provided.
Oh, yeah. I see. Seems like something like atomic swap, maybe.
So much stuff in the ecosystem that it is
Exactly.
impossible to keep up with. Thanks. We'll Cheryl will look it up.
Yeah, thanks. Great. What about interoperability outside the blockchain ecosystem, and things like gaming engines like Unity or Unreal Engine? Because a lot of these NFTs are, of course, being used in virtual worlds, in gaming, in AR experiences. What are you working on in that area, or what do you expect people to use?
If you take a look at our GitHub, you'll see that about more than a year ago, we did a proof of concept on Unity SDK or Unity plugin. So that basically from the Unity game, from the Unity plugin where the developers work, you can mint NFTs straight from there. Okay, so it's done like a year ago.
Yeah, actually, the .NET Client API was one of our grants we got back in 2019.
Yeah. So that's something that's we've shown it's doable. It's not a product yet, but as we start getting game developers and they want that, that can be fairly fast build out to what they want, what they need, and what they want. And there's a number of other tools that everybody needs too. This is not, the job is far from done in terms of growth and tooling needed and so on. There's millions of things that will be needed for sure.
Right. What are some of the things besides, like you mentioned a few examples, like the Subsocial guys and Remark. What are some of the things that you see people are building or interested to build on Unique Network with, and I would also like the audience to, like, when all of these things, like what would be possible, think of some use cases. Maybe you're building something. Let's hear it. I'm curious to know what people would think, but yeah, I'll leave to you, Alexander and Greg now.
That is my favorite topic to talk about, because since we came out publicly and kind of really demonstrated the stuff we can do, we started kind of getting inbound interest from all over the place. We have spoken to close to 100 projects so far, and most of them are really excited about the new things they can do. But to answer your question directly, what is possible, what are they working on? It is impossible to even describe it. The amount of innovation that's happening in this space right now, the different types of projects, you name it, you imagine it, people are actually working on it. It is, all angles of the earth and all kinds of use cases. People are playing with NFTs. People are making very advanced digital fashion. There's a very cool project, Ouroboros, who's kind of working on digital fashion for a while now. They're having an exhibition in VA Museum in London next week or this coming weekend. Some awesome stuff. The Metaverse kind of and virtual reality kind of gamers would appreciate that, because the beautiful world is coming to blockchain and to metaverses as well. We're working with the United Nations program for climate change, for example, to use NFTs as basically a tool to attract attention and funding for fighting climate change, which is very where NFTs come into play as a very catchy product that people really like having. It's kind of recognition for a contribution to that. So it ties very well with the charity aspect of it, as well as the publicity and so on. So that's a second. People are working on AI generated metaverses. Okay. We're going to come up with a very, very, very cool announcement next week, I think, or the following. No, it's in a couple of weeks. But about the one such project, and there are several. I mean, things that people are now doing with AI, and how you can how those AIs can start kind of doing real things. It's scary, and when you combine it with NFTs, with so on, you nail it down. So it becomes really serious. So Skynet is coming, guys. Watch out. These are just some examples of tremendous innovation. I mean, people are using it for pets. People want to use the NFTs for sports. We all know about. We hear about that. US Open did just some NFT drop, but people are starting to do real art with NFTs, not just make a file and kind of see the file, but something really deep and kind of that requires interaction and requires people to really think about things and kind of get deep down and so on. People are actively working on real estate ledgers based on NFTs. That's something I think in 10 years from now will probably be the biggest use case for NFTs, but 10 years from now, it's not going to happen next year. So, and so on and so forth. So I can go on for a very long time about this. Okay.
Great. Yeah, no, please do. But I will zoom into another question of the audience, and I'll generalize a bit. So Rod is asking, what utility does the unique token have other than transaction fees? So my wider explanation or formulation would be like, what is the role of the unique token at all? Could you describe that? And how can it be used in the unique network?
So for us, the token itself, its main value should come from real usage. Okay, from real usage for real use cases. Okay, and if we are successful in that, we are successful in building the blockchain. If we do it just so people can buy something and sell it back, then the world does not need another blockchain. Okay, that's been invented before. So we are doing millions of things. We have Solidity smart contracts that burn a lot of gas, and we'll have Ink as well, which is Rust's native, Polkadot's native. And then there's going to be a number of staking mechanisms as well, not for mining, because mining is taken care of by Polkadot, but for the application developer sponsorship program. That's number one. But also from day one for smart contracts, you don't have to pay for it. You can put a deposit, right, Greg? Mm-hmm. That's the and then reputational voting, staking, and all those things. So those are secondary use cases, but still important for the overall kind of tokenomics and the general token usage.
Great. Then on focusing on builders, like how can people get started? Victor's asking, do you have manual, maybe SDK? Jason asking, are there any video tutorials? How can people get started with Unique Network? From a builder's perspective.
Yeah. We are trying and still working on that to make that process really easy. Because the world has very few blockchain developers and has a lot of developers. So our goal is to get to the point where nobody needs blockchain developers to use Unique Network at all. Okay, we are kind of getting close. Okay, it's still not there, but it's getting close. So what we have done so far is we made a number of tools that everybody will need. Starting with the minting solution wallet, where they keep and see the NFTs, compatibility with some main ones in the Polkadot ecosystem, gallery and marketplace. Okay, we built those things first as a demo for some of the collections we did, and then we are basically giving it to anybody. So as a white label kind of out of the box open source system. So they can either take it, deploy it, and takes a few hours maybe, have instructions for that, or they can, we are finishing up the SDK to which people can use, which project builders can use to interact with the blockchain itself for all the transactions they need. They have how many? 4 methods?
Yeah, it starts really small, but yeah, basically all basic methods to build a small marketplace or a simple D app to work with NFTs.
So all they need is web developers, basically, if they don't want to touch the blockchain and kind of don't want to do something new. Okay, if they want to go really deep into things and kind of coming up with interesting ideas, then we can work together on things. Just like we're working with Bruno, for example, they came up with the idea of nested NFT pallet and working together on making one for Unique, basically. They are mostly working on it, but certainly they need our help to kind of integrate and to have the interoperability and everything. So we are trying to make it as simple as possible for a very wide audience, not only for end users but also for builders. So the most 90% of projects out there need some of these tools I mentioned, and they only need to customize the UI. That's it. So they don't have to worry about blockchain piece at all. That is available today. We're putting it together for the website. It's going to be up in a couple of weeks, but right now, one-on-one, just contact us. We'll give them that. We'll give them support for that, and that's it.
Yeah, great. So it sounds like developers who know nothing about blockchain could, use Unique Network very quickly to have some aspects of NFTs in their app or game or otherwise, and dive into the rabbit hole from there.
Mm-hmm. It's actually very simple. Once you kind of demystify the blockchain and put it into, all they need to do from the blockchain part is to mint the token, see it somewhere, the wallet, and have it ability to transfer it, to sell it, or to whatever, and kind of the marketplace that sells that stuff or gallery that shows it, and then they can come up. That covers most of on-chain use cases that people generally use it for today. Of course, there's a lot more. So some interesting projects are coming up, a lot better stuff. But we'll be very happy to work with them one-on-one. Those are our favorites.
Great. Now as we approach the end of the hour, to close off, you mentioned a few things of working with other teams in the Polkadot ecosystem, but more generally, like how's it been for you guys working in that ecosystem with everybody building parachains, discovering that technology? I think there's I'm not in the middle of it, but from where I stand, there's like a lot of collaboration and cross pollination, and of course the Web3 Foundation and Parity helping out the various teams. Could you say a bit about like how that experience has been and what you're looking forward to in Polkadot and Kusama?
Sure. So we started, what was it, February, March 2019?
Yep.
Something like that. Looked into Polkadot. I even forgot who kind of paid us attention to that, but we started digging in and saw very interesting technology, very promising technology, with the Star team, with kind of some serious things happening in the background, and we were like, okay, let's take a look. Okay, and I asked Greg looked around the stuff they have. It was all being built. Lots of stuff was missing. He said, okay, they don't have a C++ API. That was the first one. And they had Web3 Foundation set up already, a grants program at that point. They were in their first wave, so it's just the beginning. So we said, look, okay, let's try it out. So we kind of figured out, okay, this is how we would do it, and made a proposal, got grant from them, started building. Okay, and then we started. Then they have ambassador program where kind of people like us learn from others, learn from them, but also contribute something, do a little something in exchange for nothing, just for kind of being part of it. And that worked really well. So, one thing led to another, and, here we are today with a pretty big project if you kind of take a look at the overall ecosystem. Indeed, the projects are very, there's a lot of stuff still to be built for Polkadot, on Polkadot, next to Polkadot, and so on. So it's a very big space. I've looked somewhere, Electric Capital, I think, did a very nice review of the number of developers working in different blockchain ecosystems. And at the end of last year, Polkadot was very third close behind Bitcoin. And I'm sure today it's like far ahead and is kind of really growing tremendously. There are hundreds and hundreds of people working on it and seriously working on it, and some serious things. And the earliest projects are already getting big. We are kind of medium sized. We have a team of like 30 something people already. And so we're just launching. So can't wait to see what's going to happen in a year or two. But the ecosystem is very, very excited. There's a lot of interest from the market. Lots of investors are in it. Lots of builders. Lots of various people, and lots of people are paying attention. And the thing is, it all started from a very healthy vision that Parity guys had. They have been in the blockchain space from the beginning, and for the right reasons. Okay, so they were not in it for the money or for the fame. They were in it to build better decentralized worlds. And the way that they built Polkadot, not only technically, but also governance-wise, is a kind of best practice example. So they didn't take, I don't know how much was it, like $100 million on an ICO to spend by themselves. A big chunk of that was dedicated to developing the ecosystem, developers like us, or and many others. So most of the parachains that are either candidates or are already parachains are being funded initially and heavily supported by Parity. They have also Substrate Builders program, which is kind of very serious organization that's done a very nice job. I've seen IT organizations, a lot of them in the past, and they're doing a great job in supporting the ecosystem and getting things built. So it is a very nice party, let me tell you.
Great, thanks for that. I want to make sure we finish on time. So I'll start closing it off. Was there one thing you wanted to leave us with?
Yeah. Benjamin said here something interesting. So Benjamin, can you please reach out? I'm really interested to see what you have in terms of straight fiat to NFT thing, because we need that, and we will kind of we want to collaborate.
Yeah, and there's a message about that. Yeah.
Great. Someone from the Unique team, please drop plenty of contact info in the chat for people to pick up. All right. So yeah, besides the Parity and the Web3 Foundation, of course, there's also Polkadot Basecamp and the wider Basecamp. But we've just started the first cohort of the Polkadot Basecamp, and we're running cohorts all year round. So if you're building something in the next big thing in DeFi, NFTs, the new data economy, if you're building something on a unique network, come to us and help us be the best that you can be and build the best that you can in this ecosystem at Basecamp. And for now, thanks for everybody in the audience for coming. So many of you, really good to see, and for all the insightful questions. And of course, thanks Alex, thanks Greg for coming on today and dropping your wisdom on NFTs and unique network and the like. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you. Thanks. And thanks everybody for watching. Cheers.
All right, cheers.